that one there. We got this one here. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Millennial Nation. This is Millennial Nation Worldwide, and I am your host, the OG Millennial. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at O_G_Millennial. And of course, here on the YouTube page, we are at Millennial Nation Worldwide. Like, subscribe, definitely could use those subscriptions, and even share it if you can. Right now, I'm just going to give you folks a little bit of brief news happening in the world that's being perceived through these eyes, right? These eyes of a millennial. One of the things as a millennial that I'm still kind of addicted to is the wrestling world, right? I grew up watching wrestling, WWF, during the 80s. And then I watched WWF change to WWE as well as WCW during the 90s. And I continued watching WWE after the 2000s when they absorbed WCW and pretty much became the only entity. This is Monday, so they're doing something live right now. They got Monday Night Raw happening on Netflix, you know. But just some quick news for the WWE side. Bron Breakker, one of their premier stars, is still out due to hernia surgery. I heard on the Busted Open podcast with Bully Ray that they had Paul Heyman on, who is the advocate or the oracle, so they say, of the vision, right? The manager. He's playing the manager role. And he said that he talked to Bron Breakker in the offseason and that Bron Breakker is feeling focused and enraged. And so he was like, you know, he suggested to Bron Breakker that he should use that, you know, as the motivation to get him to come back faster. So, Bron, we are thinking about you. Hope we get you back by WrestleMania for sure. That would be great to see. And then on the AEW side, because they got some news too, right? They got some real loud attention by chants happening for the ICE situation, right? Like they got a wrestler named Brody King, and he's a very strong supporter of the Abolish ICE movement. And he wore a shirt saying Abolish ICE. Abolish ICE. Yeah, there we go. At a couple of shows in Mexico for the Mexican promotion down there, CMLL. And he got a lot of blowback because now there are fans, hundreds and hundreds of fans, chanting F ICE in the stands of these live AEW shows. And it's not just because Brody King gave like thousands of dollars to the Abolish ICE program. Yeah, man, that's tricky to say if you're a smoker with cottonmouth, you know. But so he's got a lot of support from the anti-ICE community, right? And with donating that much money, rightly so, he should be praised by that community. He did a great thing for that community. I don't necessarily agree with it personally, but I'm not going to knock the man. Unfortunately, their company is getting some knocks from the media, right? A lot of networks are saying that they don't want airing of F ICE on their stations, right? I guess it even went as far as having Donald Trump pointed out to the WB network, I believe it is, which is still the owners of, or co-owners with AEW of their product. Anyways, that news is still happening. It happened on one of their live shows in America, and they recently had a pay-per-view overseas in Australia, and it happened over there as well. So listening this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, if you check it out, you know, you probably hear it if you're listening. I did hear through the podcast that they did a better job, AEW is, at covering up the chants when they were chanting it in Australia, right? They lowered the crowd sound, they elevated the sound of the announcers, and they talked over it apparently. I myself am not aware of it because I didn't see the pay-per-view. But I did see the live taping on Dynamite when MJF was in the ring with Brody King, and then they started chanting "fuck ICE" in the stands, loud and clear, with no edits at all. Nobody was there to hit that button to cover up that that chant, unfortunately. And so AEW got a little bit of negative feedback for that, but they seem to be bouncing back pretty well, which is good on them. You know, they need to try and focus on doing something to, you know, garner more eyes on their product, right? So if this is one way to do it, you know, is all press good press, it's in the eyes of the beholder, right? They kind of are taking a PR hit, but at the same time, there are a lot more people talking about it and looking at the AEW product. So in my millennial mind, I think it was a good move if you're looking to get eyes on the product. So that's the general wrestling news that I got for you guys right now. I got some other news too, though. This is more along the Netflix and in future show events, like some fighting news. For example, I recently saw on the YouTubes that it's possible we might get another Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao fight. Yeah, I'm going to sit and let that resonate for a minute, because if anybody remembers the original Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight that I believe went to a decision and then Mayweather won it in a decision, it was an amazing fight. And I predict that's what would happen if they fought again, right? So it's very possible that that could happen, but it is set for hopefully, it's not set in stone yet, but hopefully in September. September 19th, live on Netflix in Las Vegas, Nevada, of course, right? We might be able to see Floyd Money Mayweather face off against Manny Pacquiao one more time. And I'm looking forward to it for two reasons. One, because these guys are a lot older now than they were back then. And because of that, I'm very interested to see what their stamina is going to be like. If they're able to pull off a good 12-round fight or 15-round fight, I would be amazed. That being said, I just don't see anybody ever being able to knock out Floyd Mayweather. So my conclusion, with Pacquiao being 47 and with Mayweather being 48, these guys still right next to each other. The tale of the tape should be similar. I'm thinking it just might not last as long. If it's a 12-round fight and they go all 12 rounds, man, these guys have got tanks for old men that surpass some of the, when I'm that age, I wouldn't be able to go 12 rounds. I couldn't go one round, let alone 12 full rounds, and these guys got 10 years on me. All right, I'm sorry, guys, not that much. You guys only got a few years on me, believe it or not, But it's not just Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao who might be getting in the ring. There are also talks of Ronda Rousey getting back in the ring. And I am not talking about a wrestling ring, right? She tried her luck in the wrestling ring and it didn't go very well for her, some would say. I enjoyed watching it. It was kind of fun for me personally, seeing MMA people come into the WWE kind of brings more eyes to the product. So I was happy that she brought more eyes to the product, but the overall result wasn't that great, for her time in the WWE. And when she left, she talked a gang of shit about the WWE. So she's not fighting in that wrestling ring. She's going back to the cage. And it's not a cage that's going to be provided by Dana White. It's a cage that's going to be provided by Jake Paul, future promoter of the world, I guess, here with Netflix. So this is going to be very interesting to see if this card really happens, because this card is happening soon. This card is happening on, what is it? It's in May. I got it in May. It was sometime in May, man. It's coming up. But Ronda Rousey's 39. She's going against a girl named Serrano. And she was one of the pioneers. Yeah, there we go. She's one of the pioneers of women fighters. I don't know Gina Serrano personally, because I wasn't watching UFC fighting, or let alone girl fights at that time. So I didn't start watching girls fighting in the cage and stuff until Ronda Rousey came around. And I was like, oh shit, she's a badass, right? So they're going to probably square up against each other, and it's very possible that it could go one of two ways. It's either, in my mind, right, I'm thinking it's going to end in the first round either way, but it's going to go one of two ways, right? It's going to either be like the Ronda Rousey-Nunes fight, where Ronda Rousey got her face bashed in for the first 25, 30 seconds of the first round, and just kind of lost focus and then got obliterated. It's very possible that might happen. But Ronda Rousey had a little bit of time getting training in her off time. So we'll see how she does when she gets into the cage, because cage fighting is a little bit different from WWE in the essence of, when you get punched in the face, you get punched in the face. And if someone punches you in the face 5 to 6 times, you start getting a little oh shit, what's going on, right? And I can speak from experience. But the other way that could happen is Ronda Rousey grabs that arm, right? If Ronda Rousey got in another fight, and they filmed this fight on Netflix Live against this girl, Gina Serrano, who is one of the pioneers for women fights. I think that it will get at least 20 million views minimum live on a Netflix show. And it's going to be interesting to see if Ronda Rousey could get that arm, because I think if Ronda Rousey at any age, you know, in the ring, and even at 39, and the other girl, she's 43, Serrano, she's 43, but Ronda Rousey at 39, right? If she grabs that arm and she takes you down and she keeps a hold of that arm, she's going to rip that arm off. And, you know, if I could see that happening in the first round too, you know, I could see Serrano trying to go for like a wild punch or something, or Ronda Rousey gets a quick takedown and then she transitions so smoothly. And that time in WWE where she was rolling around gave her more experience in that too. Cool, right? So it's going to be an interesting fight. It's a fight that I don't think is going to go past the first round, though, personally, right? So you guys chime in and let me know what you think, though. And even if you're going to watch the fight, right? Like, do you think girls should be fighting in general, right? When I watched Ronda Rousey get beat up by Nunes, it hurt my heart, right? I actually emotionally yelled at the screen, "Stop punching her in the face." So, you know, like, I don't do that when men are fighting each other for some reason. It's weird. So I will be tuning in and checking it out, though. I'm curious to see who else Jake Paul gets to fight on this card, you know, especially considering that it's coming up in just a few months, apparently. I thought I took down the day it was coming out, but apparently not. Oh, I did. May 16th. Yeah, so May 16th, live on Netflix. We might get Ronda Rousey fighting again, and she'll be fighting in a cage. If it's not in a cage, it's for sure going to be an MMA match, because that's what I heard it promoted as, was as a mixed martial arts match. So, you know, we'll be tuning in and checking that out. And then just because I follow so much other stuff in the world, you know, being an OG millennial, you know, follow me, O_G_millennial, but being the older millennial, right? Like I'm at the top. Like I'm the top millennial, the first year, well, the second year millennial, right? So I'm at the top of this shit, right? There's some news and shit that I see in the world at the age of 42, right? As an older millennial, right? So Family Guy's got a 25-year anniversary. Celebrated 25 years of Family Guy comedy. Seth MacFarlane wrote a great comedy, animated comedy series. They've been nominated, I'm sure, for tons of awards. I have no idea if he's ever won any, but 25 years of Little Stewie and Brian Griffin causing trouble. I wonder, oh, that was the camera shutting off. That was okay. No, it's still live. Okay, we're still going here. All right. Yeah, Little Stewie, right? And Meg, right? Meg was funny. They always made fun of poor Meg. Super into cartoons like that, right? Like I was all into that. Family Guy, American Dad, Simpsons, that whole entire primetime lineup that came on Sundays at 8 o'clock, right? Between 8 and 10 o'clock. Like that was the shit. But serious news too, right? Like I'm not just all about the fun stuff and nerdy, weird stuff, right? Like there's serious stuff out there. El Muncho is gone, right? The big Mexican gang cartel leader down there apparently was killed by the Hispanic police authority. And now, because of that, there has in turn been a lot of chaos and anarchy happening throughout Mexico, different parts of Mexico, all throughout Mexico. They're setting cars on fire, they're setting buses on fire, a lot of vigilantes and people are out there taking over highways and freeways. And I've even seen some videos on the YouTubes and Twitters that, or X's rather, that people are stuck, right? People from all around the world, and, you know, I'm American, so people from America are stuck there right now. And they're being told to stay in their houses and not to leave. And that is scary. On two aspects. I don't want to get too into it because I don't want to be a newsy guy like that. But one, Mexico's right there on the other side. It's close. It doesn't take much to go across that border and start doing border wars, right? And we don't want to see that. I live in Los Angeles, and I'm not far from San Diego, which is on that borderline. So The second thing that I worry about is the vacuum effect that happens in any organization that is an organization. When any leader of an organization is gone, someone steps up and fills in that role. So, is this going to be the end of Mexican cartels? No, I don't think so. But if it is the end of Mexican cartels, it's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? So, when you think about the leader El Muncho of the cartels, it was the Jalisco cartel, I believe, being gone. There've been a lot of documentaries and stuff on this guy, right? But I haven't seen any documentaries on his number twos or his number threes, So just because the Mexican, authorities were able to take him out doesn't mean that the vacuum isn't going to be filled by somebody. Like, I'm sure there's already one or two other people who have taken over their organization and are rerunning it, just like a scene that you would see in your modern day Narcos, TV series or something, right? It's the exact same thing. Even if you looked at like the terrorist stuff, the whole Al-Qaeda thing, it's the whole vacuum thing. You take out the leader and then someone fills that spot. And so we'll have to see what happens in the future, for the next couple weeks. But as far as the people, the people that are there, thoughts and prayers are for those families and folks, not just in America, but from all over the world who just happened to take a trip to Mexico that weekend, to have a good time. And now you're stuck there while there's chaos and anarchy happening around you. It's, man, makes me want to stay home sometimes, I tell you what. But on some other news, right, like that's not the only news happening though. Like Prince Andrew, I guess, got some drama happening, right? The dude from London, the Prince of London, UK. He got some investigations that he's going through. And then Epstein, man, I don't know. Have you guys seen more and more of these like leaked Epstein videos and crazy scenarios? Like, and if so, what do you think about them? Because it's hard to tell for me. Like, is it an AI generation or is this something that they're really leaking? How was it able to get leaked? And if they're just leaking one or two things, how come they can't leak it all? And then I guess most importantly, Donald Trump, why did you have to lie to me and say you was going to release all this stuff? And now I'm barely getting leaks here and there on the internet and having a hard time to decipher whether they're AI generated or actually real, right? Like, come on, man. So we got to figure out, we don't got to figure that shit. I don't give a fuck about Epstein anyway, honestly, So that's just my personal feelings, I think that there are some positives out there though, right? Like our animals, right? Like our animals are positiveness in the world, whether they're dogs or cats or whatever you got, that you can look at and be like, oh, this thing loves me. And I love this thing in return, right? So I got cat, right? So I be feeding my cat food. I normally like to feed them the raw cat food, but I'll be feeding them the wet cat food sometimes as well, right? And so here are some things that I've learned about cat food, right? If anybody's got a cat and even a dog, and a lot of their wet food, some of the ingredients, if you look on the labels, aren't the best ingredients. They're just fillers, right? Like if you take your basic can of Friskies and you take your basic can of Fancy Feast right here and you just turn to the back of the labels, right? And you read these ingredients right here. Here are a couple of them that you'll see right away, right? You'll see crude fiber, which is an insoluble, indigestible structure residue from plant materials remaining after acid and alkali treatments, right? So they take a plant, they strip it down with chemicals. Crude fat, also referred to as an ether extract, right? Represents the total fat soluble materials in food, including triglycerides, pigments, and vitamins, right? So it doesn't sound too bad at first, but then you hear something like it's determined by dissolving fat solvents like petroleum and diethyl ether, right? Diethyl ether. I don't know. It's diethyl ether, right? I know what the hell ether is. So, you guys are using petroleum, which I know is a form of crude oil, and you're using ether, another form, to create this chemical that is a substitutional fat, right? It's crazy. one of the other things, that I found out about this stuff is the fact that when I researched what diethyl ether actually is, because you could go on the internet and search any of this stuff and find out for yourself. So not only does it have petroleum, but this diethyl ether is a highly volatile, colorless, and extremely flammable liquid, right? And it's actually got a sweet, pungent odor, right? And it says here under the text that historically it was used as a surgical anesthetic, right? So I didn't know what an anesthetic is also, right? So one of the chemicals that they're using to put inside of our poor cat and dog's wet food is the same stuff they used as surgical anesthetics back in historical days, right? These crude fats and crude fibers are all different forms of petroleum, which is a rock substance, right? It's a mineral that's formed from rock clusters. And so it's the same thing that they put in motor oils and stuff like that. So read the ingredients for your cats and dogs as well, and more importantly, for yourself. Think about your own health, especially if you're getting up in your years, like your 40s and your 50s, and you ain't thinking about your eating lifestyle or just your physical lifestyle. Maybe start thinking about it. You don't got to do crazy stuff either. You can just simply change your diet, like I'm trying to do now, and live longer, right? But you can't do it on your own, right? For me, all this has been exposed by my lovely lady, Lauren. She's the one who's helped me get the mind frame to start looking into facts, not just for myself now, but even for my cat, right? So we want to take care of pets, but we want to take care of ourselves too. And that is going to be the millennial motivation for my millennial nation worldwide, right? We're going to keep on trying to put out the positive message and vibes with some crazy news that's happening in the world, and looking at it through the way I look at it. And if you got a difference of opinion, I'd love to hear it. I'm not a super debater or anything. I'm pretty easygoing, right? If you got to, I'll probably end up agreeing with you, but as far as the overall content goes, like and subscribe to the page on YouTube, here on YouTube, or if you're watching on Instagram, go to YouTube. All of my links got the YouTube link on it. Millennial Nation, right? At Millennial Nation Worldwide. And then all my plugs, find me at O_G_millennial. And then when this is finished, I'm going to put all the edits up, and I'll have like the little edits and shit like that too, so yeah. Because I want to try and be professional and do this the right way. So turned off the first camera for clips. This is the main live video right here. I want to thank you if you stuck around and watched the whole thing. I appreciate it. That's down. I'm trying to get to 100 subscriptions, right? YouTube says I need 100 subscriptions, and then they'll be able to let me go live. And if I go live, then we'll make some real magic happen, right? I also got another show I'm on called Technically Speaking News, which was on earlier today. I actually got off that show and then started doing this, So you can check us out there as well. We got great content every Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central. We give you news that you can use, right? We're talking mostly entertainment, right? Like today, I flashed back to 1993 on the Millennial Moment, right? If you wanted to go and check the show out, Technically Speaking News. We were talking about some interesting parenting topic, right? We had some good introduction talks about sports, and we closed it out with a good conversation, but I'll let you guys tune in and hear it for yourselves. And like, subscribe again at Millennial Nation Worldwide, and we'll try and keep this thing pushing. Peace.